What is up, man? It is your boy, Alexander Michaelides. I'm here with
Aj Ealef Cuts.
Yes, sir, and welcome to episode 16.
16, really forgot that one.
Bro, I'm in the cut from the charity community. Now, this is a very special episode for me, getting you guys a bit more of an insight into my life with one of the most kind of impactful people who I've been on a journey with for the last almost decade now, and it's the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Jamal Fortune. What's up, bro?
What a dooski. First and foremost, 16th episode.
Yeah.
Shit, well done to you guys for continuing to push the envelope. You know, a lot of people get on podcasts and they just kind of like, you know, they do a few episodes, they go chasing numbers, and then they just get discouraged. I think you guys are kind of like just enjoying the process of it, and the next thing you know, 16 to be at like 66, and like that, and that's the thing with podcasting. You just get so caught up in numbers and views and who's liking it and who's listening. Man, just do it for pure intent, man. And I think you guys are kind of scratching that surface. So to be the 16th episode is nice, and 16 is very honorable for me because, you know, I won the 16th state championship for my school in 2008. So 16's holding a lot of weight. No Sweet 16 like the TV show, but 16th episode. So thanks, guys, for having me. Looking forward to it.
Most definitely. Now, let's get into it. So being in a barber studio, something like that, we're always going to start with this one special question. What is the most craziest barbershop experience you've had, if you can recall?
Or worst, whatever.
Or worst. Or best. Probably not best, man.
Barbershop experience.
Put you on the spot.
Good or bad?
Bad.
Bad?
Worst, you're
Give us
craziest.
bad.
I wouldn't say we can like, yeah, you want me to talk like actually. So like the worst, I wouldn't say it's the worst, but like I learned something from this. I was at a barbershop, shout out to Mark Ambler in Beckley, West Virginia, childhood who's always cut my hair. And before he moved and got his own shop, like it was a shop with him and Sean the barber and Donnie, and they would just rotate different barbers in. And it was like a cool little community event because it was like set up right in front of the city of Beckley. And Beckley's a very small city, might I add. Wouldn't even call it a city, let's just say town. And across the street was like a hair salon and whatnot. And I never forget, you know, I'm sitting there in the barbershop getting my hair cut, and all these dudes were talking like really advanced stuff, like stuff that like you shouldn't be hearing or you shouldn't be knowing or whatever. And I never forget, across from the salon, there was like an argument going on between like this dude and this chick. Like they're going on, like she's a coworker, she works there, and they're just arguing back and forth or whatever and whatnot. And turns out that the dude that was arguing with the chick, one of the barbers, that was his friend. And he's wondering, like, why is this dude arguing with this chick? And this chick turns out to be like a married woman of a guy that they know. And so like it turned into this whole barbershop talk. And I remember the dude saying like, if you don't keeping a happy home, how important it is to keep a happy home. And that he, knowing his friend and knowing that the guy she was married to, he wasn't doing things around the home. He was always gone. He was always never there. And I got like, you know, I grew up without a father. So I'm hearing these dudes talk about how like to take care of your household, how to like, you know, you got to be pleasing your woman, like, and you got to be keeping things spontaneous and romantic. And obviously that's not a bad story, but long story short, like that dude ended up, you know, getting into an altercation with the guy who was married to the female of that salon. And I never forget. In Beckley, people love sharing who like went to jail and stuff like that. And I never forget seeing that the dude of the friend ended up going to jail for like a domestic abuse against the chick. So like that's a pretty crazy story. That's the first thing that kind of came to my head.
How old are you?
But I was 12. I was 12 years old. I was 12, but like that barbershop, man, at the time, man, I learned so much from proper grown men. Like proper grown men were like talking, obviously things you shouldn't be hearing, but like I felt like I was ahead of the curve with a lot of stuff because, you know, in the barbershop, it's like therapy. Dudes come in talking about, you know, they can't pay the bills or wanting to fight this dude, or you talking sports, or it might go to females. But like being a youngin' in there, like them dudes didn't hold back. Them dudes talking everything. So like a lot of the stuff that I learned, you know, and I applied to myself as a young man growing up in Beckley, was a lot of barbershop talk, to be honest. And a lot of dudes were just like, my Uncle Kenny, rest in peace, he would just go to the barbershop to hang out. He would be in there just sweeping and stuff like that, but he'd just be kicking it. It was just like a place where dudes just, you know, got to, especially on a Saturday, like you have the TV on and dudes talking sports, dudes talking, you know, music. It was just, for me growing up, the barbershop was just a place of, you know, refuge for, you know, grown men to actually speak how they want to speak without feeling like they have to put a filter on. And, you know, you can just talk women, and you can just talk sports, and you can just talk money, and you can just talk hustle. And like, it was just an environment growing up for me that, you know, I just to look forward to going to the barbershop just to be in the barbershop. Yep. And then when you get the haircut, of course, you feel fresh, you feel great, you feel like, you know, great about your life. But I didn't realize until I got older, a lot of the stuff I heard in the barbershop was a lot of stuff that I kind of applied in my everyday life. So, yeah, that's just kind of the story with the barbershop, not meaning if that was bad or good, but I remember that. That's the first thing that stuck out. That's what I remember.
That's a super impactful story. We went one place and we ended somewhere else, but I think that was
hey man, that's where we're gonna get with this with Mike.
That's what I do. I bring you always take you on the whole journey, but I still bring you back to the destination.
Ealef used to like, oh, I had a dead trim from here. This guy's talking about.
You know what? That has to top it. That has to top
that's number one so far.
Yeah, that's the first one. Shout out to Mark, my old barber.
Why do you think barbershops are so special, bro? And you think they're the same here as back home in terms of that space you can create?
Yeah, well, obviously a barbershop's a barbershop. I think it's up to the barber to create the space for people to feel comfortable to thrive in. I find in barbershops, I think they do have that here. I know at my barbershop, to Damian Clark, probably, you know, no disrespect to any other barbers out there, but, you know, he's probably one of the most, you know, detailed barbers that I've ever come across. And he's went from, you know, me going to him for his craft, for me going to him for the friendship now. And you learn that with the barber that you kind of, you know, you look forward to having that appointment with that guy because you know you can talk about things. And then, you know, you include everybody in the shop. But I think it's up to the barber to create that ambience amongst the barbershop. But that's what the barbershop's for. It's the same way women go to a salon. Like, it's just, that's what it's meant to be. I find barbering and barbershops are therapeutic, and in a sense it's almost like counseling as well, because you come in there and you get so many different opinions from different people, and you get in one, like, say, like, you know, Ealef's cutting hair, and then you say you got AJ, you're cutting hair, but then I'm in a conversation with Ealef, you're in a conversation with your client, but then them conversations intertwine, and then you kind of like start to network and make business, and you meet people. Like through the barbershop, I've seen so many interactions of people talking about something like, oh, actually I work for this, and then like, it's just, I think Melbourne has a plethora of barbershops, and there's so many places to go. There's so many young kids aspiring to be barbers. And I was just telling a youngin at my academy that, like, man, you know, a part of being a barber is being a good person. Like, you can't be money hungry. Obviously, you got to feed your family and feed yourself and take care of yourself, but they're going to remember you, obviously, for the haircut, but for how you make them feel in the moment of getting the haircut. I think that's very important. And I think if you're not a good person and you're cutting hair, then, you know, it's not going to be hard for you to get consistent clientele, because barbers word of mouth as well. Like, I'm going to be like, where'd you get your cut? Oh, that's fresh. Oh, man, I went to Damian Clark, or he's out in Mount Waverly. Also, it's a far trip. But, like, you know, you develop a relationship with your barber. I remember going to get a haircut and I went to a different barber, and I didn't realize that, going back to my previous barber, I was talking about Mark, that they know when you get a haircut from someone else. I got in the chair. I remember I was like 14, and I got a quick cut because I was with my Uncle Javon. I got a quick cut from Chris, just real quick cut. And that's when haircuts were like $10 at the time. And I got a cut, and then I go back to Mark like a couple of weeks later, and I sit down in the chair, and he's just like, you know, kind of like, not, you know, he said, what's up, Fortune, whatever, talking to me. But he's like analyzing me, and I'm like sitting there not really knowing what's going on. And this is what he said to me. He's like, you been cheating on me? I was like, what? He's like, you cheated on me. I was like, cheated on? What are you talking about? He's like, who cut your hair last? And I was like, okay. And I told him. He was like, yep. And then obviously every barber's gonna be like, well, this should be, and he pushed this, you know, but I didn't realize that, like, that kind of impacted him. And you're like, oh, you actually develop a relationship with your barber, and it's almost, to them, it's like, not say territorial, but like they could almost take it some type of way if you go elsewhere to get a haircut. Yep. So, like, I think Melbourne has a beautiful scene of barbers, and I think, you know, here they've done a great way of cultivating so many different, you know, ethnicities to go to barbershops. There's so many different style of barbers, style of places, different areas, different pockets. And I think Melbourne has done a great job with the barbering scene, and just the overall scene in Melbourne as 100%. Well is lit.
100%. To add to that, how do you feel when someone, if they cheat on you, how do you feel?
It's one of those. It's a tough question. Like, you got to act. It's all good, bro. But
deep down, you're like, yeah, stuff this guy.
Yeah, nah. It's like,
yeah.
You know what? Sometimes for like, that circumstance when you said that you needed a quick haircut, stuff like that, you understand. But at the same time, especially how you said about the relationship that you build with your barber, it's just like a friend. So it almost feels like, damn, like he's got a new friend now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see why though. Like, and then I think you probably as a barber, when he comes back to you after getting a cut somewhere else, it probably makes you put a little bit more into that cut. Definitely. To show like, dude, you going to the wrong guy. You need to be coming here. But like at the end of the day, like it is what it is, and you sometimes you got to go with conveniency. But for me, I feel like for people, hair is everything. It's your identity. Like a lot of people relate themselves or identify themselves by how their hair is. Like, what it's like when you don't have a nice haircut. Like, you don't feel good about yourself. Wow. You don't feel comfortable if you like, damn, I went to that interview, man. If I would have had a cut, it would have been a lot better. Like, the cut just makes you give a sense of purpose, a sense of confidence, a sense of just swagger. And it's the same with females with their hair. Like, hair is such a big part of who we are. And I find that if I go to a barber and he's really good at it, like I'm going to continue to go to that consistency and get that, because I know if I get a bad haircut, how that's going to make me feel, one, and two, you got to like live through it until your hair grows back. And like, so I think it's very important that if you do develop a good relationship with your barber, continue to go to them. Definitely. For sure.
While we're still on the topic, how can you sort of differentiate Australian barbering versus the US barbering? Because I feel like in Australia, we're definitely trying to strive to be like them, for sure.
First off, haircut prices are crazy here, but understandably why, because it's expensive to live here. So that I just think barbering in America, I think America just has such a culture, and I was just speaking about this the other day. Like, I'm very proud when I say that, like, I'm very proud to be like a black man, because like I was just talking about this the other day. Like, we create such you want to be a part of what we're doing. And for barbershops, I find that the black barber has that sense of hip hop, that sense of taste, that sense of feel, that sense of style, that sense of urgency that makes people want to be a part of or look like or be just like. And I think here in Melbourne, the biggest difference I do find is that there's so many. It's a melting pot here, so there's so many different hair you can cut. But the where I come from, obviously I can speak on where I come from with my haircuts. Like, just the barbering scene again is just like, I don't think people are going to the barbershop to hang out. In the States, you might pull up to the barbershop just to kick it, just to hang out. Like, it does become a hangout place for some guys. Like, even older fellas, like even when I was growing up, like there'd be older fellas, playing like checkers in the background, in the back. Like, it's just, it was just a place that people just wanted to be at. Like, and again, I think location has to do with things as well. We're in a like location where I was growing up, where like a lot of things was happening around the scene. People just popped their head in. I think here for Melbourne, how to bridge that gap with that culture is, I think the location of where you set up your barbershop has a lot to do with it. Obviously, if you put it in a happening area where things are going on, you're going to draw more attention to yourself. But I think what you really want to do is cultivate an environment that people just want to come and be a part of. Mm-hmm. Not even if they're getting a haircut. Like, I can go with AJ to get a cut, and I don't need a cut, but I'm just there for like the environment. So I think environment is everything. And I think in America, we just have such a culture with music and fashion and sport. And it's just, when you look on the other side, it's just like all these things are happening. But over here, I think you got something good brewing here. There's so many people wanting to be barbers. And so many people are tapping into that culture and trying to not only tap into that culture, but elevate that culture. And I think that's what I like most about Melbourne, and that they're obviously looking at the other side, America, and looking at that and like, how can we do that, but do it a little bit more, or do it a little bit better, or make it a little bit fresher. And I like that. That's just evolving. That's what you do in life. It's evolve. So I just think that if you want to continue to have that same comparison to America and I guess Australia with barbers is just making sure you create an environment that people want to come to be a part of, just to be there, just to hang out. And how can you create that? That's up to the barber, what they provide. Like, is that throwing a pool table in there? Is that throwing, you know, a TV with the game system in there? Is that, you know, having a location and you might have like a little basketball hoop in the back where people can, I don't know what that is, but there's things you can create to make people just want to be a part of your shop. And then now you got that whole, I guess, American feel, you want to call it. But, you know, growing up, I said people just wanted to be at the barbershop, just to be at the barbershop for whatever's going to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I think you've just, you know, inspired me and also everyone else listening to that, barbers, aspiring barbers, and even people in different industries, because I think they can get a lot from that. Because definitely, I think here in Australia, we need to instill that sense of community more. I feel like, especially with barbering, it's becoming, I think, a very sort of individual sport, I guess, where it should be a lot more united. But yeah, now getting on to the next topic, as before we get started. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we.
I'm gonna preference this. Yeah. I'm gonna give you a minute, bro. As quick as you can.
Make it quick.
The first things that comes to your head in a minute about who you are. Just yourself.
That's it.
I'm just a leader, natural born leader. Consider myself a walking inspiration and motivation of just how to just embody being who you are. Just a confident guy who's very comfortable with who he is, comfortable in my skin. No matter what segment, where I'm at, who I'm around, I'm always going to be me. That's never going to change. I'm a lover of self-development and growth, and I just really enjoy. I'm a servant of God, just be here to help people and push people to chase being their best self and the best version of them. And yeah, that's who I am. Michael J. Fortune. Inspiration is my motivation. That's me. That's
the quickest you ever done, bro. That was like 45 seconds, bro. So I preference that because Mike is a key pillar of my life and someone I've spent a lot of time with. The reason that I went to my first barber was because of him. I remember I told that story a few episodes ago. Yeah, you did. The first ever time I got a proper cut. My mom took me to the hairdresser, this, that. Took me to a barber, bro. It was life-changing experience. Transition. Yeah, bro. And that's why I was missioning at 16 to Glen Waverley, bro, because I didn't want to cheat, man. But, yeah, bro, I feel like, obviously, we know each other really well. You and Ealef only met a couple times. You didn't even know you guys met the first time, which is pretty crazy. Well, so where were you at a Gamma event, right? You were at a
Gamma event, again, with Damian Clark, neighborhood barbers. Was there just, you know, to be his mannequin, get a cut, just being part of just supporting my barber the same way he supports me. And that's what I was doing out of the relationship we built. And yeah, literally like they had just finished and me and Dame was walking up to do my haircut and Ealef was just right in the chair beside us cutting hair. And like we said what's up to each other, but didn't even know. That wasn't even a thought.
That's crazy.
And then it's crazy because then you do the party with Ealef and I still it don't click.
Yeah.
You didn't even click at start.
It never clicked. Like there's never no like light bulb go off. There's never no nothing. And I think, did you had to say something?
I think Dame told you.
Did Dame say, I don't know who said something.
I think Dame told you that the person I do a party with was next to us at the event, and then you told me after you got your cut.
Yeah, I think so. It was something like that.
It's crazy. That's in March.
Click. Like we were both getting haircuts. I was getting cut by shout out Luke Kelso from Sydney. He's coming down to Melbourne actually. And yeah, I was getting a cut from him, and I think I came in the chair. Mike was getting out the chair, and I just sort of just said hello, and I didn't even know till. Maybe I'd seen him on your socials or something like that.
Yeah, he's all over it.
I had no idea.
That's crazy.
I think you told me, and I'm like, I clicked at the same time. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're probably right.
Bro, visible string, bro, whatever you want to call it. But people meant to meet, they cross paths and then meet again, bro, which is pretty crazy, bro. Yeah. But I wanted to kind of continue to kick it off today. And I think your story's an inspiring one, a motivational one, and we speak about it so much. And the story's there, and you're going to be charging people a lot of money to hear your story. So I don't want to put to free to air for TV, bro. I'm more concerned about where you are and where you're going, bro. Yep. That's my biggest thing. And I think what I was talking about with Ealef before is kind of where we are and where you want to go, bro. So I want you to just kind of say where you are right now in life.
I think I'm the most stable I've ever been in my life. I think for me, I've been on this constant chase of adding up my financial with my spiritual, my mental, my emotional, and my physical. And I've been able to really understand my emotional side of myself. That's why I'm able to be vulnerable and share my, wrongdoings and experiences with people because I'm tapped into my emotional side. I can be vulnerable, which is hard for some people to do. I think I've really tapped into my physical, obviously overcoming some, major knee injuries, taking me out of my sport, playing basketball, and just sharpening that tool and really, treating my body like a temple. I think my mental has always been tough. That's my nickname. My grandmother's been calling me tough since as long as I can remember, and that didn't really make sense until I go through some things that were like, yeah, I am tough. So mental's always been tough and strong, and just my spirit has always been healthy. It's always been, come from a household with my grandmother, obviously my mother, but my grandmother was always preaching core values and, the Bible and, just every day being a good person and limiting your sins. But like my financials never added up with any of that. And it was always taken away from me really enjoying all of that, because all of that makes me who I am. And now I'm in a place in my life to where the financials are starting to add up. Not saying I'm like rich or anything like that, which I will be, the last name. But right now where I'm at is the most stable I've ever been, because financially it's starting to catch up with the emotional, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. And then once like that financial that box is fully ticked, where I'm going to be, I'm going to be where I'm at today. Just everything's upgraded. Obviously I see myself, doing a lot of amazing things, and to be where I'm at today makes me understand that I'm on the right path. I'm going in the right direction. And, the spirit, the mental, the physical, the emotional is only going to continue to elevate, because I'm chasing to being the best version of myself. And with that, me doing that, the financial is inevitable for it to continue to be having monumental gains. And once that does, man, I'm going to feel like you can't tell me no.
It's a tough question, but how do you get those pillars to align? Because it's not something easy, and you make it sound easy, you're looking confident and comfortable, but it was never an easy process, and I'm sure it wasn't. So how do you make those align?
I think for me, I've never been afraid to hold myself accountable. I've always been able to get on myself for my wrongdoings and get on myself for, bad habits, and constantly chase improving little things. I'm constantly right now trying to improve, working my time out more diligently, like specifying this time for this time for that, this time for this. I think when you can kind of nitpick at yourself in a healthy way, but then you apply action to fixing that. I've never been a person that if I make a mistake once, I want to make it twice. So I make conscious efforts to not do the same thing over again, because if you knew better, you do better. So when you know better, you continue to just try to do better every single time. And no, it's not been easy. I've been through a lot of things in my life. I've had a lot of, hardships happen. I'm 33. I feel like a lot of the things that's happened to me, I feel like I've been on this earth for 70 years, but I understand my purpose in life, and I know my purpose is to be here to help people. And once you kind of know your purpose in life, and everyone has a different purpose, and we all have a purpose, but it's up to us to unlock it. But once you find that purpose, every day you live feels worth living, and it just feels easy to live. You say, I'm sitting here confident and easy, but you asked who I was before this, and I said all of those things. I'm confident because I am comfortable in who I am. I know who I am. In order for me to know who I am, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and not point the finger elsewhere. You got to point at yourself sometimes and be like, dude, you're not doing this right. You need to fix this. You're being late for everything that you do. How can you do something earlier to make yourself be more on time? So if I'm going to talk about me, I have an issue with, not leaving things last minute, but like I like to move on my own time sometimes, and that can be a detriment sometimes. But what I find is like, okay, for instance, like today, I was 10 minutes late, right? We said 2, I got here 2:10, right? And on the way here, I had to look at myself and like, it's my fault I'm 10 minutes late. No, it's no big deal to you, but it is to me, because I'm trying to fix that within myself. And what I didn't do this morning is what I've told myself is when you get up and you got something on, just go ahead and get dressed. So like I've been up since like 9 o'clock. I should have been dressed by 10. And then while I'm chilling now, I see the time, now I can just go. But now I left it, and now I got to get ready, and now that adds that little extra 5 or 10 minutes, and now I'm 10 minutes late. But that's something so small, but that's something I'm trying to improve at. So that's how you start to fix the little tiny things, because the small things add up. Because if I'm doing that, then it's going to seep into something else, and it might cause me to miss out on the opportunity because I'm too late, and the timing's everything, right? So if you can continue to correct the little things within yourself in a healthy way, like I just explained, you find that you're a lot better than what you really realize that you are. Like, so I don't know if that really answered the question fully, but
definitely
that's That's just what I do. Everyone's different, man. I hold myself accountable. That's the main thing.
Definitely did. It sounds like the way that you're able to manage your habits and to make them into good habits is something that helps you be the person you are. And yeah, that's
100%. And I want to lead off to that. Sorry, bounce off that. What do you think personally has been the biggest adjustment you've made yourself this year?
The biggest adjustment I've made?
Conscious or non-conscious, whatever. But if you're looking back at the last 10 months, what have you adjusted the most or changed or fixed or adapted to?
I think just letting go of results. I think we get so caught in trying to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that we don't appreciate the one thing that you just did, because you're constantly trying to chase the next thing. And a lot of I've been preaching for us where we're at is one thing at a time. Just taking one thing at a time, so that way you can really celebrate your milestones, because sometimes you don't celebrate yourself until you get to the end goal, but you forget to celebrate all those little instances leading up to that. I think I've really done well. Like, once it's out of my control, I don't even have, it's not here no more. It's gone. Like, as I was saying to you yesterday, like, if something, we've had so much success, and what I said, the devil's just trying to poke his head up and frustrate your process. But it's up to you if you're going to allow that moment of the devil for you to make that a priority or not. That's your choice. So if you can just let go of any of those little bad things that pop up, like, obviously, let's just say, Ealef, you're cutting hair, and then, the next thing you know, you've literally just told someone else that I got you at 2:30, but be here at 3:30. And now you mess your times up with your haircut, right? Now, what you can do to fix something like that is, now you're thinking, okay, I've messed these times up, but where did I go wrong before? Right? And we don't really realize or analyze or look back and reflect on the little things that lead up to the main thing happening. And once you're able to identify that, and then you fix that, and then you just continue to put things into the universe and let it go and just focus on where you are in that moment, I think things just start to happen, because you're not constantly searching of trying to get to the next thing. So just letting go, bro.
To lead off that, I want to ask a couple questions. One, is it something, well, I'm going to ask it first, actually. Do you think you're able to let go because of your faith? Because you said, obviously, you were talking about how you said it's just the devil poking his head at the door to leave it to the universe. Like, you had those beliefs. And then two, how can other people do that?
I'm going to answer two first. Reflection, because that's allowed me to do number one.
Yep.
Because, what was the first question again, Ed?
Do you think that you're able to let go and get it out of your head and just leave it once something's happened? Because you have faith and you trust it?
Yeah, well, people say trust the process, but do they really trust the process? Like, as cliche as that sound, do people actually trust the process? You say it, trust the process, but are you actually trusting it? Like, are you willing every single day to continue to do the right thing without any praise or any accolades or any acknowledgement, and continue just to do them things and fall in love with the journey of just doing that and not worried about the end result of you doing that? I think my faith is very high, because I firmly trust the process. And the only reason I trust the process is because I reflect and look back on all the other instances that got me here today. So why wouldn't I trust it? Like, from where I come from and where I'm at today, like, I have no choice but to trust the process of me going forward, because where I'm at today is much better than I was yesterday. So why can't I trust things that the things are aligning? Sometimes, the world and the universe is happening, for you, and it's not to you. And in the moment, you're so focused on something big happening, but like, it's probably just materializing as you're doing the things that you're doing. So a lot of reflection, AJ, a lot of reflections allowed me to have faith in the universe, because I can firmly say that I truly trust the process. So when people say that, really, actually, do you really mean that? Like, because it's cliche. I think it's just something that's thrown around. Trust the process. It's an easy thing to say.
Very. That's hard to do.
Do you really trust the process? Like, I want people who's listening to really think about that. Do you really trust your process? And if you say that you do, a lot of people who say that they do that really don't. They give up on things so soon. I've been doing this for 3 months and I haven't seen nothing yet. It might be 2 weeks around the corner, but then you quit. Like, because you're so fixated on the end result instead of just being in love with the journey of what you're doing. And now you build these good habits, and you look in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you're right where you want to be ahead of time, because you're not so fixated on getting to that top point. But it takes a lot of reflection. You got to set aside time in your life to really reflect on your life about, what you've been through, what's happened, how it's led you here today. And then that gives you kind of a formula of where you want to go to next. So a lot of reflection for number 2, but number 1, I truly can say I trust the process. Can you?
Was that easy for you to find your faith in God and in yourself, in your spirit? Was that an easy process for you? Because even for myself, that's something I'm trying to work on right now. And I want to hear something from you because you seem to be really in line with that. So, yeah.
Shout out to Melanie Angel Fortune, my grandmother. If it wasn't for her, man, I wouldn't be able to do none of that. Like, I think just having a foundational piece in your life, and that don't even have to be religious, just support. And someone that's in your life constantly just preaching you the right things and constantly trying to teach you right from wrong and just making sure that you have a healthy moral compass. And my grandmother was constantly making sure I had a healthy moral compass. She was always allowing me to see, the other side of things from a spiritual standpoint. And I didn't really realize that until I got older. But a lot of the habits that she built in me, she did that. And now they're just natural things. So, for you, Ealef, I can't tell you to go jump into a religion or go make this or make that, but I think your faith always starts with you. Now, if you have the faith already from within yourself, you already have that believing faith within yourself, that's when it comes very important to who you surround yourself with to give you that back. Because if people don't have friends, mothers, grandmother like me who did that, siblings, or a partner, a girlfriend or a boyfriend who can do that, then you're going to have to find a way to do that yourself. And those people normally turn to religion because they have no one else in their field. And it might not be the religion they want, but they feel like that's what they need to have a faith of mustard seed, but they don't have the support around them. So I think if you have the right support around you and, your gut speaks to you and it's telling you everything around you is pure, I think as you evolve as a person, you start to look into more things that can feed into that. But so if you have healthy relationship with your partner, healthy relationships with your family, and they're giving you them right things that you need, I think I wouldn't say that's a religious act, but I would say that's a spiritual act because you need that. And people get spiritual and religion mixed. I think it's two different things. I think when you're following a religion, you're following something by a book, like you're following something to a T. It's very specific. It's very I's dotted, T's crossed. I find when you're following your spirit, I feel like you leave a little bit of leeway to actually live life a little bit. I find you can be restricted a little bit with religion, and I find with spirit, you can live a little bit more. And I think it sounds like right now with your spirit, that's the thing that you're really trying to level up. And with that level up, I think if you continue to surround yourself with the right people, I think that will give you what you're looking for.
I really appreciate that, man. I think that's definitely something to look into.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel honestly, bro, I don't think I clicked until recently. I think a lot of your spirituality comes through in what we say and when we preach, when we talk to kids, bro. And how has it been to keep those core values without your grandmother here? Because obviously you've been away from her for a minute. Mm-hmm. So what's that like to continue with you? I don't think I clocked until obviously recently, this year, start exploring my faith and going to church and whatnot. And I'm hearing things, then I hear you say, oh, Dave, you've been saying this for a minute, but I didn't realize it was intertwined with that. So how have you kept those pillars in absentee of your family?
It's a sacrifice, man. For me, I'm doing all this to have something to show for them for why I've been gone for so long. So for me, why wouldn't I be being the person that she raised on the other side of the world, because it's a reflection of her. So everywhere I go and everywhere I stand and get told, you're an amazing man. Oh, you're so important. You helped me so much. And a lot of that's me honoring my grandmother because she gave me a lot of that. Same way with my mother, keeping things real. I can keep things real when I have to. I can be very harsh when needed. I can be strict when needed, but I can also be easygoing at the same time. I get a lot of that from my mom. But, for me, I'm still to this day, I'm 33. My mom's still, on the phone. Make sure you look both ways when you're crossing the street. Make sure you're always just being a mom. I know you're old enough, but I still got to say these things, and you appreciate that because you have someone that genuinely cares about your welfare no matter what is going on. And for me, it's just honoring them and just showing the man that they raised is in a different country doing amazing things because that's a reflection of what they brought up. So I would never do anything to shine a bad light on them and, make them feel as if like this isn't the person we raised. I want them to praise the person they raised. And for me, the only way I can give that back is being a sacrifice over here to help others the same way I would do if I was at home with them. And so I keep that going, AJ, just because I know it's a representation of what Amanda LaDawn Fortune and Melanie Angel Fortune raised and cultivated.
I love that, bro. And you touched on something that their grandson's over here, freaking 24 hours away doing amazing things. And you are doing amazing things, bro. And you obviously have a basketball academy. You're a business owner of multiple businesses to do in a healthy, thriving, loving relationship, which we'll touch on a little bit later as well. But I want to ask you, bro, out of all those things that isn't internal, right? What's been the biggest challenge this year with everything, with the business, with, giving so much of your time to hundreds of kids in the academy, with the relationship? What's that challenge been like?
Are you asking what's the biggest challenge or what has all that been like?
I'm going to ask what the biggest challenge is as a whole.
I've found it lately.
Or thing you've had to learn most, where you're like, I'm out of, like, what the hell is this? Because this new world, bro, if you really reflect, as you always do and where you come from, and obviously you haven't worked out mics from Beckley, West Virginia, we're in Melbourne, Australia now, doing a lot of different things. So how's that been? How's that challenge, bro? Because I feel like this year, knowing you so well, you stepped into a whole new light, a whole new zone. You can't just consider yourself a basketball player or a coach. You're not that anymore, or a podcaster there,
I think I'm a public figure.
You're a public figure, bro, because of what you do and the way you speak. And bro, you're a business owner, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's that been like?
I'm gonna give you a shout out, man, because I didn't really hit that wall until recently when I've really like gotten a lot of stuff loaded up on my plate, and I can't sleep at night because I'm thinking of everything, like everything. And you made a good point, which I used to do and I haven't done, is getting back to writing, getting everything off my head. And you gave me that, and I've been doing that, and I've been finding so much more comfort to just be living my life once I slam the book shut, because everything's gone from here. And now I've created so much more room and avenues and boulevards and streets and segues in my head for other stuff to go down, because I've taken all this that's in my head and just gotten out. And that's just, writing, like a lot of planning, just how I'm feeling or whatever that may be, just whatever is in the head. Sometimes the other day I was just looking at the page and wasn't writing nothing. So I wasn't forcing anything. I was allowing it to come. And then also, for me, I obviously will get into it later, having a partner that keeps me grounded. I won't talk too much on that, but that definitely helps a lot of what I got going on. But nah, the main thing is this year, it really just hit me lately, just getting this new head coaching job. And you're just saying, like you told me, you got a lot here. That's why, I can't sleep at night. I'm thinking, I'm waking up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, and now I'm up thinking about running this play, or I'm down thinking about how to, do this program a little bit better, or what is, calm sport going to look like. And now the next thing you know, I've been up an hour and a half. It's 3-4 in the morning. I got to get up in an hour. But I'm just laying there thinking of how I can improve things, which is a great thing. That means that I care about what I do, and I got a lot going on, and I'm trying to put all the right eggs into that. But that point you made to me, just taking everything out of here and putting it down, I found a lot of comfort in being able to take on as much as I'm taking on, because I'm not so clustered in my head anymore. So shout out to you for giving me that little snippet of advice, man. I needed that.
It's special, the weight that you emphasize on remarkable people in your life. You mentioned AJ, you mentioned your mom, your grandmother, and a lot of other people. But what's some advice that you can give to people who might not feel like they have that special person to give them that kick?
That's a good question. I think that question they need to start with. Their first question they need to start with is asking themselves, why don't they have that? Like, what have you been doing to have allowed you, that has eliminated you from having that? And once you can figure out what's eliminated you from having, a great relationship, or having, obviously you don't have the control over you having the best relationship with your parents. They got to meet you, halfway, obviously. But I think that they just need to ask themselves that question first. Why is this happening? Why don't I have a partner? Why don't I have a friendship group? Why don't I have I been too standoffish? Have I been too cold? Have I been putting myself out there? Was I listening, or was I the best child to my parents, like, and then once you can identify the reasonings, because it's always going to segue back and give you a reason why. That's reflection. Like, how can you figure that out? And I think the first step is just admitting that to yourself. Okay, I wasn't too best in this relationship. I didn't, listen when my mom and dad was trying to give me the best advice, or when I did have that partner, whatever. I'm just throwing things out there. If I did have that partner, I had that partner, I wasn't giving them enough attention. I was being too selfish, not worrying about, just thinking about myself. Like, once you're able, that's what I say, able to point at yourself, you can figure a lot of things out. And then you start to see that, okay, now next time when I do go to date, I know what not to do, or I know, from last time, because it ruined me from having that partner, or I know in this friendship group that, if they tell me something, I can't go run and telling the next person because it's going to have backlash and make me lose somebody. So, like, I think just finding a way to point that at yourself and figure out, why is this happening? Why don't I have this? And then once you can identify that, start to act on it. But for the people out there who don't have that, like, can you give that to yourself enough to allow the door to open for someone else to give that to you as well? Mm-hmm. Some people say that, but are you really worthy of getting that? Are you doing the right things to get that? Like, are you treating people right? Are you speaking to people right? Are you, helping people? Are you, looking out for people? Or, like, are you doing the right things to get that in return? Because normally the universe gives you back what you're getting out. So if you're giving out that kind of energy, it's just going to come back in return, one form or another. But if you're not giving that out, how can you expect, to get that? Normally, when you're the brokest one in the room, you don't have no say-so. You have no control. So if you're the brokest one in the room, who are you to say that you get to pick where we eat? You don't have no money. How are you picking where we eat? So, like, how can you be like, I deserve all these friends and all this, and you're not being given nothing in the universe to have that? So to answer your question, Ealef, I think you got to start with you. And then once you start with you, you can figure out everything else you want to do.
I like that, because I think, we're in a world of pointing fingers. So I think it's really important that we look at ourselves first.
Point the finger at ourselves.
Definitely.
100%.
Accountability, man. That's what I was speaking about. You find it's hard for people to hold themselves accountable, man.
Very.
It really is, because it's kind of an embarrassing. Because it's an embarrassing thing. Like, it's hard to admit, especially if it's going to embarrass you amongst other people. One, if it's with yourself, that's different. But, like, when it puts you in a situation of uncomfort, and a lot of people really view and really care about what someone thinks about them or how they view them. So if they even have an utter moment of embarrassment around somebody, then that can be the reason why as well. Like, a lot of people are afraid of, failure, something not working out, and how that's going to perceive them to look. Like, a lot of stuff is what people are so caught up in what the other person thinks. And to be real, that person that you're imagining thinking is not even thinking nothing about it.
But they don't care. That's what I'm saying. They
don't
really care, bro.
Like, and who are they? It's just a label. It's not. It's they. Well, they're gonna look at me weird. Who's they? Like,
why do you think people think that?
Because they're not comfortable in their. I mean, I'm no prophet or anything like that, but like they're not. That's why I'm gonna name my son Messiah. It's crazy. But they're not. Again, man, it all starts from you. Like, it all starts from you.
They haven't unlocked that. They haven't gone through the waters with themselves and spoken to themselves and unlocked to themselves.
Let's flip this. Let's just say you're in a relationship with the girl, but you've just gotten out of a relationship with someone else 3 weeks. A lot of people in that 3 week span are constantly trying to fill the void because they don't want to be alone. And then they get into the next relationship, but they still have feelings that are overlapping from the last relationship. And then when that person from their last relationship reaches out to them, they're more susceptible to reach back and talk to them. And now they're in a weird situation because I want my ex back, but I got this new thing. What do I do? In that 3 weeks of time, you should have been giving all the energy to yourself, not going on dating apps, not trying to go on a date, not trying to meet somebody. You need to be dating yourself and fixing yourself and doing whatever you need to be with yourself. But a lot of people are afraid of this, pointing at themselves and figuring things out. So they just distract themselves with things. That's why COVID was so important. That's why it really revealed a lot of relationships. A lot of people lost their relationship in COVID, right? Because you couldn't run and hide. You can't run to that bar and go get a drink. You can't go have dinner after dinner, and you can't go. You have to sit in your house and actually deal with your mess that you sweep under the rug a lot and hide through social activity. So, yeah.
I think that's what you said. Distractions is key. I think that really, you're right with that. People try to keep distracted. And before we continue on relationships, we will in a minute. A question I wanted to ask you, as you said, you're doing a lot of amazing things, and it starts with you when you spoke about energy, and starts with you, ends with you, and you can hold yourself accountable, and this, that, and the third. What are you most proud of this year, bro? You've done a lot, right? You've done a lot. You're doing a lot.
Yeah.
You are a lot.
Yeah, I think the growth in me as a man, like, I'm proper, like, I don't have one of my own, but I treat one that's like one of my own. You know, stepping up for my partner, my stepson. I think that has really, you know, and I don't really realize it till my mom calls me and she's like, you know, you don't have to come home for Christmas, like, 'cause you got a family now. I'm like, dang, I do. Like, you know, you and your family just moved into this house. Like, you should be spending Christmas in your house with your family. I'm like, dang, I do got a family. And, like, now being in that point of, you know, doing things for them the same way as I was doing this whole journey for my family back home, I think my maturation as a man is what I'm most happy about, the way that I'm able to impact hundreds of people throughout the week, but still have time to be a figure and a man in my household and give the time that they need. I think that's the most thing I'm most impressed in myself as. It's just about to be 30, you know, about to be 35, man, pushing 35 after this year, 34 into this year. So, like, I'm really stepping in. You know, I got my first gray hair in my beard, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just proud of my maturation as a man, because a lot of this journey has been just myself. Now I have two beautiful people along this journey with me, and I'm just very thrilled that I have that support and that love to go back to, because I did not have that for so long, because I've been away from my family for so long. I tell a lot of people here, your greatest blessings being able to go back into your home at night. Like, one of your greatest things you get to, you on the weekend, get a home cooked meal from moms. You know what that dude's getting a home cooked meal from your mom or your family. Like, I don't get that. Like, I don't get to, you know, after a long week, okay, I go see my folks. Like, I go years. I went 3 years without seeing them. Like, and I missed out on a lot of my siblings' upbringing. I missed out on my sister's graduation, but I'm at another kid's graduation. Like, that impacts me, right? But the maturation of a man is knowing that I'm going to be in a position one day to see my sister every day, because I'm going to be able to financially support that. Like, because that's starting to level up with everything else that I'm doing. So, but yeah, I'm just most proud of me just stepping up as just a proper man. That's where I'm. I think it's funny because a lot of the kids get so confused. I'm so fun and jubilant and bouncy and just, you know, I am a big kid.
Kiddish, yeah.
They almost forget that I am a proper man. Sometimes I gotta be like, yo, like, what you talking to? Like, I'm an adult. I'm not one of you. I am, but I'm not a teenager. But I think that's what's best about me, because I'm able to encapsulate. I'm able to encapsulate the youth, because, like, I still can be like you too, but they still can view me as an authority figure. So I can play both fields, where some people can't do that. I'm able to play in both hats, to be fun, jubilant, understanding. That's why a lot of them open up to me, because they view me as one of them as a teenager. And then they feel, oh, it's Mike. Oh, he's older, proper man. When I start saying stuff, they're like, oh, well, you're an older man. Like, yeah, but you forget that, because in these moments I'm with you, I'm able to be on your level with you humbly. Like, but yeah, the maturation as a man, bro, I'm loving it.
So, speaking about your youthful character, I got a question. I mean, we spoke about this with AJ about a week ago or something like that. The two of you meeting and AJ saying that and introducing Calm to you. How was that, as, you know, someone, you know, quite a bit older than AJ, looking at him and not just being like, yeah, bro, like, get out of my face, you know what I mean? And actually taking him under your wing and doing it as a team. How was something like that?
It had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with him, like who he was. The relationship was formed through basketball, and he spoke my language. He was always clapping. He was always talking. He was always instructing. He was always talking in the huddles. He was always trying to lead and help out his teammates, and that's who I was as a player. And then to see he played the same position, I kind of just gravitated towards that. And then he comes to me and asks a question, like, I think it's maybe 2016. He asked, like, how can I work the pick and roll better? And I'm like, okay, here's a kid who wants to learn as well. Like, I was curious. I wanted to learn. I asked my coaches questions. I was a sponge. I just wanted information so I can apply it. He was the same way. And then obviously I left the country. I come back to the country. He's matured about a year or so older now. And, I start to just kind of, take him under my wing because he gave me a lot of inspiration because I was trying to come back off an injury. And, training with this young, hungry kid, it kept me feeling like I was that still same young, hungry kid chasing basketball as well. Even though I'm like at a professional level, it still made me feel like I was trying to get my first college degree still from basketball, being around him. And that really gave me a lot of inspiration to keep going forward. And then it led to me from, me to not only, helping him with his games and giving him advice to me, starting to talk about life. Now he's older now. He's not 14. He's 16. He's talking about girls. He's talking about friendships. And we've developed a relationship through how he was through basketball. And then that just kind of cultivated into me starting helping him with life. And then I think for him, it's probably like, oh, damn, you have so much to give in basketball, but damn, even more in life. Yeah. So I think for him, it's just like, okay, I've started this amazing thing. Well, he wouldn't even say he would call it amazing then. I've started this thing that I see can be amazing, but I don't know what I'm doing with it right now. But our relationship was so comfortable at that point, he was able to come to me and ask me to do a video because he understood what I was doing for him, how it might do for other kids around his age. And if he's asking, I'm doing it because, like, I really, want to help this kid because he wants to help himself. That's what he was always trying to me, he was always ahead of the game because he was always trying to be the best version of him before I even kind of locked into what that was. And I think that just kind of turned into a relationship of push. He pushed me, I push him. Yep. I say all these things about me being confident and comfortable and in my own skin, but a lot of the stuff that I knew about myself, I was afraid to show to people until him. I was afraid because I didn't want to be looked at as a know-it-all. So you heard me just say, I'm not no prophet. Like, I don't want people to think. I used to not care about what people thought about me. I just didn't want to be perceived as as arrogant or I know it all, or I just think I live righteous, or I just think. And he was just like, nah, you're lit, bro. Like gassing to a point to where, yeah, you're right. Like, I need to be putting this out there. Yep. And he created a platform, and I knew I was liking it when I was thinking of ideas away from it. I'm like, how can I improve this video? Or what can I do next? And then, like, I left out, like, I got a tattoo, Fortune 500 on my inner biceps. And then on that same day, he asked me to be a part of Calm Basketball. It was the moment I realized what exactly my tattoo meant that I got at 19 years old. I just got a tattoo randomly because my seniors in my college at King University, they were getting tats at Billy Jack's. And I remember Clarence was like, bro, just get one. I'm like, nah, I don't know what to get. It's forever. He's like, bro, just get one. I'll pay for it. I don't care, bro. Just get it. I'm trying to be this cool freshman with these seniors. Like, all right, bet. And I would just always just call myself Fortune 500 just because of the Fortune 500 companies. My last name's Fortune. It just sounded cool, whatever. I had a game profile on video games. It'd be Fortune 500. Like, I just got it tatted. And I got the Fortune, I got the 500, and the zeros are basketballs. Okay. And I never really realized what that meant. I just got the tattoo because of peer pressure, wanted to look cool. And then that same day, I realized what it meant. Fortune 500 companies is the 500 most successful companies in the world. And me, Fortune, Michael Jamal Fortune, I'm a man of many companies. I'm a man of many things. I'm a basketball coach. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a leader. I'm a man of many things. I've been able to do a lot of many. I've been able to model. I've been able to act, right? But like, 'cause I'm an enterprise. I'm setting myself up now to be, my name's a business. And that wouldn't have came if it wasn't for AJ. He pushed all that. He's almost kind of like the brains behind my operation. To be real, like a lot of stuff that I feel I want to do, and I'm like hesitant because I don't. Again, that little bit of what are they gonna think? Like, are they gonna think he's just like, nah, run it, bro. You a goat, bro. Like, you're lit. I'm like, you're right. So I think that's where it kind of just took off. I gravitated towards him, and it's just rocket shipped into where it is today.
9 years later.
I think another thing, like a young person especially, like they'll keep it real. They're not gonna.
Yeah, That's one thing we've realized, bro. It's that child innocence. They just say how they feel. If you're lit, I'll tell you you're lit.
To it. Exactly.
Yeah, it's real.
You're not going to sugarcoat it. And I feel like, you know, especially for you, seeing AJ's telling you this, and that, you're like, okay, bro, fair enough. You understand.
Yeah. But you know what? I was never, and that's where I give myself a lot of credit, because a lot of old heads, I'm calling myself old head, a lot of old heads, oh, this little, what are you talking
we just missed it at the time.
Little dude, you talking about, you ain't even been my age, I mean, you nuts don't even drop yet. Like, hating because you're young. But I was always like, I'm open to learning. I'm like, I'm constantly want to learn. I want to be 70 still learning. That's a part of the journey. Like, being the best version of yourself, you never cannot know enough. There's so much we don't know right now. Like, we don't know everything in the world, like, and you're never going to know everything. But if you're hungry to learn and you're willing to learn from others, like, it's just like, I'm the same way in coaching. Like, so many coaches are like, how you said, barbering turned into like a solo sport, you against me. That's how kind of coaching is getting a bit like thirsty for jobs. I should get the job. And some coaches like, I know more than you. You listen to me. I'm always been a guy like in coaching, like, oh, what do you know? Okay, I didn't even know that. Maybe I can apply that to my methods already. Or like, yeah, just being open to learn. And I'm glad I was never no dude that was just like, now get up, shoot, fly, move. Like, I was like open to that. And I'm still open to that with these kids nowadays. And I think that's what makes it so easy, because they know they can come to me the same way AJ did, with no fear or no judgment, because they know that they're going to get an honest answer with no bias, the same way they give me the honest answer 100%. Of making me feel like I'm lit and dope. My day, I live a great life because every day I'm around kids, and kids are constantly gassing me up on a daily. So like, even if I feel not great, I walk somewhere and I get changes straight away, because are you right? These kids are honest. Like, I got 10-year-olds on their knees bowing to me. Like, I got kids hanging off my leg. I got kids like, oh, can I have one of your dreads? I want to, like, when you cut your dreads, can I like make one to keep one and make it a rat tail? Like, I want to hang it on my wall.
Bro, he
like,
calls me. I'm like, shut up, bro.
Like, it's just wild stuff, man. Like, maybe 2 weeks ago, man, I was in my feelings, and I'm in the whip, and I pull up to my academy, and like, as soon as I park, I go to get out the car, and I'm surrounded. Like, I'm like, damn, like, I felt like, obviously it's kids, but you feel like everyone's wanting an autograph, like how they see on the movies and stuff. But I got 10 to 20 kids running, coach, Mike, what's up, Mike? What's up, Michael? Yo, what's up, hey? And I'm having a bad day. I'm in a bad mood, and it just changed. Cause it's like, bro, like, what you're mad at, it's not even that serious. Like, it's not as big as you're making it. Like, so being humble and honest, I get that back in return from the kids, and that's just kind of what it's been for me and him. Still is today.
100%, bro. And like we spoke about last episode, the power of words, bro.
The power of words and the power of positive words.
Power of positive words, bro. Especially. So again, if you're a young person listening, I asked this man how to help me with a pick and roll when I was 15, whatever.
15.
And now at 22, look at where we are and what we doing. Like, tell me how that's crazy, bro. You know what I mean? The power of words.
You came in as confident, like I seen that you wanted to learn. It wasn't just you genuinely wanted my help. Like, you genuinely like, yeah, and it was easy watching the workout. Here I am, being a fat guy, eating an HSP. On the sideline, eating an HSP, watching him train, just eating, like, coming off. No, I was training earlier that day. I'm still in basketball mode. I haven't had no injuries or nothing yet. I'm still fresh. And yeah, I just come to this session for Torres just to watch. And then I ended up watching. He was just locked in. It was the voice, it was the vocalism. It was the clapping, the high fives, the getting around guys, dudes mentioned, hey, it's all good next one. Like, that was me. That was me as a player. Like, that was me as a player then. I was always I've always been team captain, team leader, always been that. So like, seeing that I already liked the kid straight away before I even knew him. I liked him straight away. And then like seeing the work ethic, he's working hard too. He's not just talking, he's working hard as well. And then he came up, just asked that question like, hey man, like, I need some help off the pick and roll. And I'm like, yeah, what do you need to know? And then he started explaining, and I started showing him different ways to attack the pick and roll, and how to come up at shoulder to shoulder, and how to separate and come off looking to score first. Like, and just, we need to add some floaters to your game. Like, just start talking the ball. And then he started asking more questions. And then it led for me, picking him up 2-3 years later in the whip. out from school in the Mustang, picking them up. And I didn't know, and now looking back, I didn't know in that moment until really now how lit I had you looking at your school.
Bro, I was goated, bro.
I'm pulling up to his high school in this.
You knew, bro.
No, not like that. Like I knew, like it was cool, but now that like he's older and now we're doing this, like I'm like, yo, like I was literally picking him up with the top down, blasting rap music at its fullest, and I see heads turning and stuff, and like I knew in the moment like it was gonna make him look lit, but I didn't realize how lit that could feel, how it would feel for a kid.
Bro,
that never happened to me.
Juice.
I've never got picked up in the Mustang from high school. Like I never had that feeling, so I didn't know how to understand that, but I knew what it was doing for him. I'm like, oh, this is making him look lit. So every time I pull up, I'm gonna pull up top down, music blasting. Make sure it's seen, so when he's coming to this car, like they know he's jumping in this whip. But I didn't know how it was making him feel because I've never felt that before.
Bro, that was like, massive for me, bro. I remember it was like when the days Mike pieced me up, it was usually like science class, and where the school was, the way he drove past, all the 11s and 12s, like when I was that age, and they could hear the music. Everyone in class looking, I'm just sitting there, that's my ride, bro. And bro, just to have someone present like that, because obviously single parent, my mom couldn't pick me up and whatnot. At the time, stepped out at work, and just to have that American guy, bro, it's I'm gangster. Yeah, it's just no other way to put it, bro. It's
pretty cool.
He got his bag, basketball in his hand. No, he's about to go work out.
Yeah, bro.
He's about to work out with me.
They're like, where you go? Who's that? Who's that rapper? Some of my teachers and stuff. Bro, just like that, bro. But touching on that further, bro, you've been nothing but an amazing role model to me for the past 9 years of my life, and that's led to hundreds and almost like thousands of kids in what we do with Khan, but also your academy. But the most recent one that's really heartfelt to me, and I'm going to ask for some advice in a moment, that's really heartfelt to me, and I've seen it happen, bro, is your place as a stepfather. Oh, yeah. And I've been in a household with the stepfather. I know what it's like. It's not easy, bro. It's not an easy thing to do, man. And before we even get to that, obviously, the fact that you've been able to create such a loving and healthy and thriving relationship, bro. So I wanted, obviously talking how you've been a role model as a stepfather, which you have in your present, which you touched on before. This man's busy around basketball all day, but can still take his steps on the basketball and teach it and help it. You know what I mean? But I just wanted, considering Ealef and I are young men who think, we're pretty set with our future wives to be, inshallah, and whatnot. What's some advice you can give for us, man?
Hey, my boy, you spoke out on the mic.
I said it, bro. I'm standing on it.
But you spoke it. Ealef didn't say it. So if it don't work out for Ealef, he didn't say that. AJ said that.
We stand on that. We stand on that.
All right, we standing on business. All right, we stand on business then, and that's what it is. You say on the mic, that means it's real.
I know, bro. That's why you go do it, bro.
It's in the cut now, bro.
Speaking into existence.
It's in the cut.
It's real.
Yeah, speaking to existence. But what were you asking?
Yeah, bro. So tell you the differences in role modeling, like, someone who's not kind of like your own, but like a different kid, and then someone who's like your stepson now. Obviously, it's a different role model. You talking a bit more about different things and fulfilling that role as a stepfather. And then lastly, after that is just some advice as two young men in relationships, bro.
Well, let's segue. Let's chop that question up. It'd be two, but we'll digest this first one and come to the second one. I got you. I think the first one, I still impress myself, dog. I never went into it like, oh, I need to do this, and this. I just knew I just needed to be myself. But now me being myself just came with responsibility this time. Now with the other kids, I've had kind of, when I say practice, but like once I impact them, they go. Like now, once I have him, he stays. Like he's in my house. Like he's living with me.
Fortnite, yeah.
And you know what? When I met my partner, obviously, previously to that, this is a true story. When I met my partner, shout out to Mike Torres and Jay Torres setting it up. When I met her in 2019, so when I had to sting, I wasn't on the right moves at the time to be in a relationship. I was doing my thug dizzle, and we're walking to the car. Me and Kendall are walking to the car. I think Ollie's about 4 at this time. This is true story, bro. Walking to the car. And I'm going to get in my car. They're going to get in the front. And the dopest thing about her was, like, I thought I had this thing, so I was going to impress. Like, I'm going to impress. She didn't even know what I had. Like, she didn't even know I was in a Mustang. And, like, that already off the rip, like, showed, like, I banged with that so much. But before I'm getting in the car, Ollie turns around and was like, can you come stay at our house? Can you come home with us? It's a true story, bro. First time I ever met them in my life. And as we're leaving, that's what he says to me. And then fast forward, I go back to the States. That's when I come back right before COVID 2020. Come back like February. I go back to the States for a little bit, come back. And then COVID hits, and then I'm with AJ. Again, we're giving out shirts. That little June 2020 period where we had some freedom outside. Yep. We're doing a drop. He did the Don't Panic It's Calm shirts with me and Simba on the front. Shout out to Simba. And I was on this spiritual journey at the moment of like, I don't care about females. Like I had this moment moment of reflection during COVID about all the stuff I had done. And I wasn't too happy with a lot of my decision making. Again, as I was telling you guys, doing stuff for the story, then you kind of look back and you're like, oh man, that wasn't the best move. Like you start to question yourself, like, what was I thinking? And like, so I went through this whole little phase and I'm like, you know what? I'm committed to Michael Jamar Fortune and Michael Jamar Fortune only. Like, I'm just going to lock in and date myself. That's all I'm going to do. And if anything comes from that, then whatever. But I'm telling girls straight from the jump, like I'm locked in. Like, and if you ain't on that, keep it moving and I can care less. And that's the mode I was on. And Mike's like, oh, you should come by the house, and brought these shirts over. And he's like, tell AJ, he's on the phone with AJ. He's like, oh, tell Michael Kendall's over here. And I'm like, I don't care about no girl. Nah, bro, I don't want to. I'm not all this fuss. And we end up going. And I think it's the first time I think AJ seen me talking to a girl before.
Bro.
And so, like, that's the second time I met Kendall. It went really well.
Bro, shut up. Bro, let me really well, bro. They were talking about salad and cooking. But, bro, I'm sitting there as a youngin', bro. I'm like, bro, he cooking. I got in the whip. I said, bro, that was the most impactful 10 minutes I've ever heard in my life. I don't know how you talking about salad. I know she's feeling you, bro.
Like, run it down, bro.
Yeah.
Literally. And we started like kicking it after that. Me and her started kicking it after that. And the first time we ever kicked it, man, I think we both knew the very first time. Like, we knew. But to spin the block back to when I got injured, when she came to the hospital, my first thought is if she comes to this hospital with this knee injury that I have, I've been through it before and I know the certain help that I need someone hand and foot helping me. If I have her come to this hospital with me, my first thought wasn't even her. It was about Ollie. Mm. It's like, because if now I have to go in his house, I have to live there. And now I was only seeing her when he wasn't home. When he was at his dad's house, I wouldn't see him a fortnight. And now I'm there every single night with this injury. And that's the first person I thought of. It wasn't even her, it was him. And I think subconsciously, me already putting him first, I already set myself up to be a stepdad right then and there without even knowing. Because when you are in a relationship and there's kids involved, your first thought is the kid. You're doing everything for the kid. And my first thought, not even in a relationship with her, my first thought is the kid. So I think that's what's made me be able to be in this stepdad role very easily. And I enjoy it, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I like this kind of life. It's simple. I can really lock in and focus on what I need to get done. And he makes it so easy. He's a good kid, man. Like, if he wasn't, I wouldn't be AJ's not good. He's a great kid. And we meet so many different kids. And I come into my home like, man, I'm actually glad and blessed that I have you, because I see so many kids that are like bad off. Like, problem solved. And like, I see so many kids that are bad off, and no, at his age though. And I know I walk in this house and I got this 9-year-old who's moving around like he's 13. Yeah. It's dope. He's easy to kick it with. He's never made this hard. And I don't know what I'm doing sometimes still. And yesterday, he's like, man, you're the best dad ever. I'm like, dang, man. Like, and that hits because I'm just being me. I'm not thinking of this as like a job or a role. Yeah. It's just me being me, but knowing that now and the one thing that kept me from, like, I was going through this phase of like, you know, I'm from America and we come from like that, you know, racism and the black and the white thing. And I had this little pinch in my thought, like, man, like I got this, you know, this kid, and, you know, we ain't the same race, and like, how's that gonna look? And then like, I literally slapped myself in the back of the head. This again, accountability, checking yourself. I slapped myself in the back of the head mentally. Like, dude, how shallow of you to be saying no to this kid because of that, and you're that for every other kid, multiple different, like, what do you think? What are you talking about right now? And then once I was able to be like, oh yeah, you're right, Mike. Like, you tripping. Like, even to have that form. Then from there, it was just like, oh yeah, this is nothing. And I don't even view myself. Again, sometimes I'm just being me And it's not like, yeah, I'm just being myself. I really enjoy it. He's a great kid. He's given me a lot of level of maturity because now I got to think about him in my decision making. And that's what I said about my financial gain coming out. I'm able to support him with what he needs. If it's fees for sport, or he's hungry, or he, wants something bought for him, like I'm able to contribute to that. But a year ago, 2 years ago, I wasn't moving like that. So that's why I'm saying a lot of my maturity as a man and financial gain bleeds into that, and it's allowed me just to be the best figure possible for him.
Yeah, bro. I think like when you put it all together, and you said you're most proud of this year is your maturation as a man, but I think you wouldn't have matured as much if it wasn't for the environment you're in, and for little dude being who he is, and for you to fulfill that role without even knowing you're fulfilling it, but just being Michael Jamal Forge, not the podcaster, not the motivational speaker, but a father, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just putting that hat on and just living who you are.
Yeah, I think in life, it's the puzzle piece is just a line. You got that pillar, your family, your sport, the influence that you have on the young people in calm and in your basketball and all that sort of stuff. So I think when they all start to align, you just realize that it's how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you know.
Yeah.
You can fight it. You can ignore it. You can push it to the side. But when you know.
That's it.
And so when they say that, you can't feel that, because when you know. It's the only way you know.
100%.
So your second question,
last question before we sign off. Go for it.
So when I say maturation as a man, they're in my head, but I didn't want to put out too much because I knew we were going to get to that. So when I say that's what I'm most proud of, when I say maturation of a man, it's because of those two. For you guys, man, what's worked so well for me and Kendall, and we were talking about it last night, we communicate. When I mean communicate, we communicate effectively. And that's what our relationship was built off of. She's beautiful, man. Like, so many people see her from the outside looking in, and they get so caught up in what she looks like, and they almost might perceive her to be a certain way because how good she looks. That's like the fifth thing on my list when it comes to her. That's like a bonus. Like, the perfect representation of her is through her son. Y'all asked me earlier, the perfect representation of myself is from my grandparents and from mom. So like seeing her son the way he is, and her being a single mother, where's that coming from? She has to be amazing for him to be like that. I have to be amazing for my grandmother and my mother to do, as I said earlier, for that. And seeing how he was as a kid and how he was, that's a reflection of her. And that just told me everything I needed to know about her. And our first night ever, like properly hanging out, man, she's good looking, bro. Like, you gonna think that, oh, I'm on it, bro. We was talking from like 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. and we were talking so much that we like looked outside and the sun was coming up, and we were like, yo, I guess we should wrap it up. Like, it was so easy, but it was just so easy to talk. And that's what you want in your lifelong partner. If you get a partner that you can just spend time with, an abundance of time with, and not feel like I need to run to my boys. Obviously, you need time with your boys and make friends for your friends. Like, I'm not saying that, but you have a want to spend time with them without anything sexual, without anything physical, just being for the purity of just being with that person. I think that's what a life partner is. Because when you have a wife and you don't want divorce, you're trying to be there together till you part. And you can't have that if you don't view your partner as a best friend, someone that I want to spend time with. Because as you get older, the looks go but so far. The sex only goes but so far. Obviously, those things are needed, but like, are you willing and wanting just to spend time with this person day in and day out, through the good and through the bad? So for you guys and anyone listening, just communicating effectively. Hard conversations make stronger relationships. Don't hide, don't avoid. Obviously, what we do, if we get into a little bit of a argument or a tiff, which is very rare, we separate, because I need time to reflect and take everything on so we can speak to each other with no emotion involved, more of a conversation. Because when you yell, shout, and argue, you don't really get to hear this person, because it's a competition. So we step away and really massage our emotions individually, and then we come back together and we come to a solution as a unit. And a lot of our decision making is a unit. Okay, I get this opportunity. Let me speak to her first and see what she thinks. But I want her opinion. I value her opinion. I value her. So when you're in a relationship, communication is key. I think it's a lot of a reason why relationships go wrong, because people are afraid to communicate the hard things. It's easy to be like, oh, Ealef, I love you. AJ, I love you from your girl, but it's hard for them. It's hard for someone to be like, yo, you're not doing this right. You're not fixing this. You're not. And then they go, all these words go on said for 3 weeks, and there's a shift in the relationship. And you're like, wow, when all you had to do was just say something, like flag me. Like, and I think a lot of relationships do not communicate effectively. They only communicate what they want to communicate. They don't want to communicate the hard stuff. They push it to the side. So let's go, all right, we have this issue. Let's just go socially hang out with friends. But that issue is still there. You just bury it for 2 more weeks, but you add more stuff on top. And then now at some point you can't hold it down no much longer. Now you end up in a breakup because all you had to do was have that conversation 3 weeks ago. Simple. Yeah, it's going to be hard. You might not be talking all day. Then you come back together and realize that, like, you're everything I need. Like, this is what I need, what I want. So just communication for you guys, man. Communicate. That's what me and Kendall do so well. We communicate about everything. And for her, I'm just happy to be here on this journey with her. Obviously, I'm not going to tell her story, but she comes from stuff. She's been through some stuff. I've been through some stuff.
Yep.
And we were there for each other through a hard time. She lost her mom to cancer. You know, I tore my patella and my knee, and that's how we came together. We were there in a time where we were both most vulnerable and lost something. Not comparing my knee to her mother, that I could never imagine losing a mother, but to see how she was and how she handled that and how she was a pillar and a rock for her dad, who just lost his wife of 39 years. Dog, like, you almost forgot she lost her mom, how she was for him. Like, so she's just a strong person, and she's just tapping into who she really is, just scratching the surface. And I'm blessed to have the relationship I have. And I'm just very glad that she allows me to be me unapologetically, like be who I am. And so any relationships out there, man, make sure you're communicating the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty. The communication is where a lot of relationships go wrong. So just communicate effectively to your partner, and I guarantee you'll come to a solution. Or if that solution doesn't work, then yeah.
And
I love it.
We're definitely grateful for that. I mean, you know, it's super, super important that, you know, you're able to express yourself beyond that confident person that you are. So we're definitely really grateful and inspired for today's podcast.
100%, man. Episode 16, you led us with a lot of gems. And, hey, man, just to give you your flowers before you sign off, bro, you've been a massive pillar in my life, which I tell you kind of almost every day. But just look at what you are, from where you've come from, man. And you got Beckley on your back, and you just repping, bro. You're doing a lot of different things, and it's only going to be more, bro. It's been more this year, and next year's a takeover, bro. We speak into existence. Business owner, multiple businesses, Basketball Academy, freaking great partner, great stepdad. Bro, just a great man and a good dude, bro. So, hey, man, episode 16 in the cut.
That's
and
it.
Share the community.
Let's go. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you boys for having me. Keep pushing the podcast forward, man. Can't wait to see what you guys got coming up. So
Yes, sir.
You know.
Let's go.